And there's a reason for that. There's a few reasons for that. And it's, in some ways, I guess you could say there's some shyness involved, right? There might be some because of everything that I've been going through. And you want to feel safe and appreciated. And as you know, for me, until, you know, fairly recently, it's been kind of a hostile environment for me. And I've been busy all this time processing why, because everything was cloaked. I wasn't able to clearly see everything that was going on around me. And so they said they were testing me. But, and I've picked up that they wanted to see, if I really did have these gifts, these intuitive gifts, and, ability to pick up information, by observing and, listening, and, even some real, outside information that's come from relatives that have passed on, right? It's not like, I've never tried it as far as any further than how I've used it, just to try to figure out everything that was happening around me. But I know, do I know, that there is a higher power, and it was very clear to me, and the veil is really thin, right? That's not a lie. It really is, and hopefully my talking about this will help you understand and prove to you in some way that that actually is true. And I believe that, when we ask for help from God or from from the universe, especially if you're not someone that is actively harming anyone, but even so, if you are a fairly decent person and you're going along in your life and you need help, you feel like you're in harm's way or you need answers, I know. And there's, of course, the religious community, they'll also tell you can pray and get answers, but some of us can really get information. And I think that God, Source, was really warning me, in these last 3 years, what you've put me through has been just horrific. And, and I'm not going to let people abuse me to see how much I can take for your pleasure. So those of you that want to keep harming and abusing, that's got to come to an end, because I have nothing to prove. You don't deserve me proving myself to you if you're trying to hurt me. Are we clear? So if you want to keep hurting, harming, throwing things, sooner or later, you're going to be arrested. Let's just get it out there on the table. And I'm not going to mince words for people that come after innocent people to harm them. I mentioned before how important it is for us to keep a lookout, right? To know, first of all, we don't judge before we have all the information. That should be the biggest lesson of all, is that, we don't judge a book by its cover, not by age or looks or what kind of music genre we like. We have to be, if we're adults, we should expect people to behave as adults, right? We understand that there's a lot of young adults that have not fully grown up because, they haven't really had the life skills yet to really get to the point where they understand that, messing around with other people's lives is a dangerous thing to do. You don't have to listen to me. You can continue to do what you do, but I guarantee you, sooner or later, if you don't grow up and conduct yourself in a safe way for everyone that's involved, you're going to stick out. You're going to stick out, and everybody's watching. I don't claim to be perfect. I don't. But I'm not a pushover either. And believe me, I'm streetwise. I was streetwise before this all happened. This has been extremely difficult for me to speak about, not just because of having my channel shadow banned or having people here in my location trying to manipulate or stifle my message on my channel. That's part of it. It's like, what's the point? If they're just going to steal my work and manipulate my accounts and continue to hack my devices. And I realize there's a clone, and they reboot my apps, and you actually use my phone as if I was there using it. Like if you were to call Apple and they would do a remote access. That's exactly what's happening, is that they've got this remote access to my devices. And it's really obvious. There's no way to not. They know I know. But that isn't even the whole thing. And I've asked you this before. If people start watching you in your home and your privacy, and you knew that it was happening, and guys were getting off and watching you, and you'd have to know that was occurring like day after day after day, you would start feeling like curling up in a ball on your bed while you sorted out the egregious situation that I found myself in. There are things in this life that can be really hurtful to us, Breaking up with, an ex-husband or a boyfriend, somebody you cared for, that's one kind of hurt. But family betrayal, that is a special kind of hurt. That's really profound hurt. Do you think that those people, let's just say they're distant relatives or siblings or something like that, right? We're all grown up now, by the way. I don't know if you knew that, but we are, but let's say it's just them. Even if it is just them, how profound to have to deal with that level of betrayal, knowing what they're doing to you way before the Star Maker thing. This was going on for a very, very long time behind my back, and I didn't know it. And they wanted me to talk about my life and what I've been through, but it would be impossible for me to do that in just one session of speaking. I mentioned before being raised in a musical family, right? And then, of course, that's me. I'm a duck in the water when it comes to that. I've told you before, I was in the band, I traveled. I love stage performing. I love it, I was writing songs as a kid, a really young kid. Everybody knew that already. It's not a new thing. Some strangers didn't know, but the people that attacked me absolutely knew. They knew my history. And they're the ones that came after me. And I'm supposed to be understanding. How could I be? Of course I'm not understanding. Where would I be? It absolutely makes no sense to me. How people that I was close friends with would do something like that to me. That would betray me like that. I don't care if you thought I was going to die and never find out. How could you do something like that? As long as that person is living and breathing, what are you doing? You had no right to do that. As far as the ex-husband that was the attorney, he was disgruntled because I left him. And I don't unlike what they did to me, I don't want to reduce myself to share their dirty laundry on a live. It isn't because I respect them, it's because I respect me. And I'm not going to do to them what they just unleashed upon me, especially these last few years. I deserve so much better than what happened to me. I don't care what money or what secrets. There is no, oh my gosh, to get involved in something like that is very dangerous. It's dangerous to do that to your kids, to set an example to your children that it's okay to attack people, your own your family members. I don't care if I'm blood or I'm not. I was raised in that family. I was the third child of George and Myrna Richardson. There's no excuse for doing that to somebody. But there's still nothing quite like having your own kids get on the bandwagon and participate in the annihilation of your mom, of your mother. I don't care if you don't like me. I love you. You're my child. I've done nothing to you. Would never hurt my own kids, never. And so much testimony was bribed that you gave in court about me. Serious things. And you want me to just be okay and to let it brush it under the rug? No, it can't be that easy. No. Especially, I deserve something from you. At least the truth. And I am holding your feet to the fire. Don't you think I'm not? One way or the other, you really are going to know what is right and what is wrong, and how important integrity actually is. And all the excuses to say, well, you were going to die, we didn't think you were going to find out, or, well, you're just so this and you're just so that, and we're jealous, you should understand. All of that is gaslighting. You are somehow making it my fault how you feel, when I'm not even paying attention to you. I'm not paying attention to you. I've never even seen your channels. I don't even know if you got one. But I'll tell you this. I know family of mine went into the courtroom and defamed me and perjured themselves in a courtroom after being bribed. You have no idea the gravity of that action. Oh, and I take that very seriously. I don't care who you are. Especially if you're my kids. Especially. I guess my time for teaching you anything isn't over, because I'm quite serious about it. All of us, by human nature, look for loving relationships. Look for employee and employer relationships based on professionalism and respect, mutual respect. That's another kind of betrayal that happened in all of this, which really just blows your mind, You would think that nobody would want to risk their name and their business to do that to somebody. But because we have so many people of all of these different groups, there's just no way that she'll ever find out. And if she does, well, and she did. And so since I'm still alive, and they'd already committed so much crime with the ex and all of those people, they had to knock themselves out to destroy me emotionally. So I would be some sort of blubbering idiot with no one coming forward to help me, so that they could get away with stealing what legally and lawfully belongs to me. My work and my effort, my investments. Oh my gosh. How in the hell could you do that? How could the community just think that was okay? Somebody important must have said it was okay. I'd be telling on them, because now they've created this scenario and it's too important. I can understand if somebody that you have respected and that in leadership would come along and say, let's do this, okay? They'd already done a lot of shit way years ago, right? But now that I'm getting more attention because of music and being online, they had to come up with another plan. Oh, it'll be good for her. We'll pretend like all of this is really good for her. No. Doing something like this to a human being, when the police, another group of betrayers, should have come in and said, hey, we noticed that you are being targeted. But no, they'd rather protect these important people over here and not worry about one person. Oh, she's just one person. We don't care. We want her money. We don't care. She's just one person. But there were other people, that were targeted too, that were, they were doing the same thing too. And then there's this other group. The group of the judicial system. The judges. Yes, we're gonna get that girl. We're gonna get that bitch. She'll never find out. She's stupid. She's uneducated. If we don't have you on our sides, police, judicial system, the people are screwed. We, in this nation, that we're in, can just blow off your rights. No big deal. She doesn't have any rights. We're just going to blow that off. She's a nobody. She'll never figure it out. Oh my God, she found out. We're going to have to come up with something wrong with her. We're going to have to find something wrong with her. And then the other group, the religious group. Oh my gosh. Every group you're going to, okay, right? All these groups. So now you've got the religious group. Oh no. What have we done? We've got to find something morally wrong. We need to shame that woman. Let's shame her and spread it all over the world. While they're out there, you know what I'm saying? These are not moral people. Moral people, okay, let's say you are morally sound. You've never cheated on your spouse. Which is good. That's really good. You shouldn't be cheating on your spouse. But let's say, but if you did, you can repent. Things can, you can fix it somehow. But I'm talking about when you're younger and you're single and you're growing up and you're living your life and you know what I mean? It's just like people are so ready to just attack you and shame you. Boy, and I've learned through this situation, if you let the church have too much power over your self-esteem, oh my gosh, they can destroy you, and they will. And they deliberately used that. They used religion to come after me. They wanted to make me look like this. Oh no, well, you heard they said I was, they had people saying that I had HIV and that I was a prostitute. Things I have never done. And I've never had an STD. Not that I have to tell you that, but I never did. And a lot of the time that they were saying I did this, you all know I was going through chemo and radiation and surgery after surgery. I went to Italy and I came back and I was told that the cancer came back and I had 3 to 5 years. You know about the fundraiser at Club 90? And I just keep singing. I'm singing for my life. I sing because I've always sang my whole entire life. But now that my kids are grown and I could focus on myself, and with this cancer situation, I've been singing for my life. I know when people are sending negative energy toward me. I know it. I've known it even when I was, well, I learned it when I was a kid, probably. I mean, it was, kind of a natural thing. But when when anyone's in harm's way, and you can even try it. I mean, just, first of all, just, I always, case my environment. I'm casing, right? I'm just, am I safe? Is there an exit? Who is in the room? I kind of look, and when it's like a closed area, like let's say you're in a conference room with your peers, and they've got, I don't know. There's always kind of politics inside of a office. You're terrible about that, right? I hate corporate. I don't hate corporations. I just don't ever want to be in a corporation like that ever again. It's a very toxic environment. And it's proven. That's been proven to me over and over and over again. But there's always going to be jealous people somewhere, somehow, and it's really. I was just thinking maybe it's just bad leadership. That certain things are made to be tolerated and not addressed in a way that everybody can be safe at work, right? And in their communities. But I realize that it's rather impossible on a big scale at this point in time, but you got to start someplace. But I can imagine that people would risk their good names, no matter who you are, no matter what your role, that you would risk that, And so, and that a lot of people are talking about this narcissism thing. Well, it's, boy, they sent a whole army of them. They really did. I've had too many. Completely circled my camp. Talk about toxic and abusive. And when I'm, when I was growing up, I used to think that, I knew I was an empath. And I'd heard that term before when I was like a teenager. And I knew I was, because I was very sympathetic, empathetic to people, even those that were not even good to me. I was just I could feel their feelings. And if somebody was hurting, I would really feel bad for them. Genuinely feel bad for them. And they didn't care really that much about it. They cared, but it's just, how kids are when they're growing up and you're adolescent, right? There's jealousies there too, but I really did care about my friends. It wasn't, it wasn't something where I ever pretended. I really did. And so it's particularly difficult. And, and I don't know how many other people as myself that have actually had all these different groups from every walk of your life. They got everybody I know, and acquaintances and strangers, to come after me. And I wasn't even paying attention to you. And yeah, you got away with it because I wasn't paying attention to you, because I was working on my own life. I don't, if you think you're better than me at something, great. You go do you. Don't worry about what I'm doing. What I'm doing has nothing to do with you. It really doesn't. The only person who you really should be supporting is yourself. You can always work on your own talent. You're never going to be somebody else. Never. Just be the best you can be. The stage is big enough. You'll get your own following if you play it right. And it's, just work on yourself. It's none of your business what anybody else is doing anyway. It's none of your business. It doesn't matter how they make you feel. What they're doing is none of your business. If they're not harming you or coming into your personal life and deliberately harming you, leave them alone. Leave them alone. I'm going to go back to music for a while. I just wanted to tell you what's on top of my head. I mean, I've got so much to say more than this in details. My relationships have not been good for me at all. I've had people and siblings that have come in to mess up almost every single relationship I have ever had. And, you know, I just want to move. I just want to get out of this energy and go someplace else. You know, it's time that I have the freedom to not worry about any of that and just move on and enjoy my freedom from oppression from these people that only cared about taking away from me. They didn't want to share or even, you know, they just wanted to take everything. And they did, literally every investment, everything I have. And got my kids to help them. You can't even imagine. You just can't. You just cannot imagine the magnitude and the hurt that this betrayal actually has caused. You don't even know what you've done. You don't know. If I was to leave you with any good advice, I would tell you to be honest. Just be honest. If you proceed with, you don't have to be perfect. I mean, people aren't perfect. Okay, let's say there's certain circumstances, right, where you have to use discretion. And there could be a good reason. But for the most part, you have to have integrity in your business, at home, within your family. These things should, this goes without saying. I'm just tired of the arrogance. I'm tired of the browbeating. I'm tired of people always thinking that they're better than me. Think what you want. You know, I don't care. I'm not competing with you. I'm just going to be the best me I can be. That's what I'm going to do. Whether you like it or not, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And it's one thing to have faith in your Creator, because I do. I really do. And I know from personal experience that if you're in harm's way and you pray and you ask for guidance and you just think, He'll give you a plan. He'll give you a way somehow. I mean, sometimes things happen, you know, and you don't have control over them. But I promise you this. You know, if you pray, He will help you. But don't ever let religion come at you to shame you, to hide their crime. And, you know, and from now on, if any religion comes toward me to try to shame me, I will report you. I will block you and I'll report you. Shaming people does not bring them back to the Lord. I've got news for you. There is nothing in this world that makes them run away faster than blaming people and shaming people, gaslighting people, and treating them like crap. Because you think you're better than them. You can preach out of your Bible all day long, but as long as you come after somebody and you're shaming them, I promise you, you're not doing God's work. You better know it too. You're not. You're doing the devil's work. And He gives people a choice in their life of what they want to do with their own life. You have a right to choose for yourself. Nobody gets to tell you what to do. That is your decision. Period. This is my life. Okay? I still get to make decisions for myself. And you don't get to push me around. You will speak to me respectfully, and I will get a chance to look over the situation and see what it is that's right for me, For me, I want to do good. I love people and I want to do good. That's easy. But I haven't been very good about protecting myself because I trusted family. Who would trust people from their church and family? Raise your hand. Would you kind of want to trust them first? How many people would trust the police to come if you needed their help? You know, I didn't do anything so outrageous by trusting people in my community. No. I did exactly what anybody else would have done. And they want to tell me, oh, well, now you know what's going on and we've helped to become so much stronger, Treva. No, it was not a fault of mine that these people came after me in the first place. That wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault that I expected more from them because they know better. So, no, you don't get to gaslight me. You really don't. And so, you know, I'm a little fed up. But as time goes on, I'm sure I will be giving you some further great information. And this information is very good because we all deserve to be protected and safe. We all have the right to choose our path and to believe in a way that we choose to believe. I know for a fact that God lives. I know He does. Because if He didn't, I wouldn't be given these gifts, you know, to save my life from all of you. So I have no doubt. I have no doubt. Thank you, God. I really do mean that. For giving me the eyes to see, for the soul that feels, for a mind that can pick up information and fill in the blanks. You can't just say you want to make this world a better place. You got to mean it, and you got to do those things that make it a better place instead of perpetuating a targeting act toward one individual. And say it was, oh, it's for the greater good, we had to do it. No, you didn't have to do it. And I will buck up and take it like a real, true soldier. Truly, I will. Because I respect myself more than I respect those that did this to me. And I always will respect myself and love myself first. I know when I'm being taken advantage of. And I know when I'm being attacked by real hate crimes and nobody was doing anything about it. It took a lot to get that help. I pray you have a really good evening, a really safe evening. Keep looking out for each other. Look out for each other. No matter what platform you're on, keep your eyes open. It might save your life too. Keep your eyes open. And if somebody is getting bullied or hurt, it could be you. You might want to report it. Yeah, we're going to have to work together. And that's, you know, that is the only way it's ever going to stop, is if people align and decide to make it stop. And that they know that if you target and bully somebody, you could get kicked off the platform. It should be that serious. I mean, it would have to be a lot. I would think that was fair, or 1, 2, 3, you're out. But still, you know, we deserve to be in a safe environment. To have and if this is where you're doing your business, like me, you know, you should be able to do that in safety. And not worry that you're going to be shadow banned or blocked, or the police are going to manipulate your channel because they're afraid you're going to tell on them. Okay, I will stop right here. I'll be back. Have a nice evening.